Okay, so hello everyone. In this video, we will discuss the basics muna, no? The basics of your property plan equipment. Basics when you talk about theories, no, on how to audit, no, your property plant and equipment. So for this discussion, we will emphasize several points that we could see in your sim. I hope I'm presenting and not muted. Okay, I'm recording also. And we also need to emphasize some points which is covered by your supplemental material. So supplementary material for proper audit of property, plant, and equipment. Okay, so with about property, plant, equipment, this is one of the uh, major assets of a certain company. No more likely than not, this comprises the largest amount in your balance sheet. Your property per equipment, if not the largest, one of the largest account in your balance sheet. Your property, plant, and equipment, especially for multinational companies, no big companies. No, this ano, they have this big property plant equipment, but except for one, I think I know I know a certain company na they might operate nationwide, no, but they do not but they have less PPE. For example, the Union Bank, 'di ba? The Union Bank now goes online banking na, almost online banking, 'di ba? So technically they have now less branches because all banking transactions are now through online. So there is a if you're going to look at their balance sheet, comparative balance sheet, since the time that they fully geared towards this what we call online banking, there has been a substantial decrease in their property plant and with the property plant and equipment. So yun, but technically PPE is one of the largest accounts in our balance sheet, and that therefore PPE is material. But um, aside from being material or um, what's good with PPE, although material, is that it has a very few the transactions with regards to PPE is very few. Okay? Very few lang po transaction with regards to PPE. It's not every day that we purchase land. It's not every day that we build buildings, right? It's not every day that we acquire equipment. So, siguro, once a month, may ganon, once a month, we build buildings once a year, di ba? So, the transactions with regards to PPE is relatively low, right? So, all the material, but its transactions are relatively low. Kaya, for property plant equipment, no, some companies or some audit firms do do employ 100% audit for their property plant equipment because again they are they're material but they have few transactions during the year only. Okay, and you could see, no, you could see, you could directly observe or you could directly see a property plant equipment, 'di ba? Buildings, equipment once you do your plant tour, 'di ba? So you would see some properties there. You see some equipment. And you could also inspect the title of the land for you to know that those property plant equipment are existing as of that balance sheet date. Okay, so what are the proper internal controls for your property, plant, and equipment? So a subsidiary ledger consisting a separate record for each unit of property, plant, and equipment. So dapat meron tayong record for each unit of property, plant, and equipment. So there must be a subsidiary ledger for this individual unit of property. An adequate ledger for property plant equipment facilitates the auditor in analyzing additions and retirements. So it would really help us to facilitate our examination with regards to additions. Kung meron tayong pinurchase, have we acquired certain property, and have we retired a certain property, meaning the property has been sold already, or already fully depreciated and not and cannot be used anymore. No, so in verifying the depreciation provision, maintenance expense in comparing authorizations with actual expenditure. Very important po sa ating PPE ang tatawag natin na authorization because PPE disbursements that comprise of 1,000 pesos, they don't comprise of let us say 5,000 pesos, but not about PPE, it the amount is material. It would rise up unto 20,000, 50,000, even millions for your disbursements in your PP. Therefore, authorization is very crucial no for the internal control over property, plant, and equipment. Second, a system of authorization requiring advanced executive approval as mentioned no, kanina, no? Of the plant equipment acquisition, whether purchase, lease, or construction. Dapat meron talagang approval talaga, authorization. Number three, an authoritative written statement of company policy distinguishing between capital and revenue expenditures. Ano pala itong sinasabi natin? So there must be a stated memorandum or a stated document about a company policy with regards to how do we distinguish if it is a capital or revenue expenditures. So about capital expenditures, these are expenditures that is to be capitalized as an asset. Revenue expenditures, these are the amounts that needs to be expensed. For example, in the company statement policy, 20,000 should be 20,000 is our minimum capital expenditure. 20,000 meaning if the company paid for a certain property pan equipment, for example, bumili siya ng or bumili siya ng computer which is worth 10,000 only and therefore it is to be expense because hindi siya umabot doon sa ating 20,000 minimum na capital expenditures. But for example, bumili tayo ng isang computer amounting to 50,000. Therefore, that 50,000 is to be capitalized. So, ganun po yan, no? So, there must be a statement of company policy as to how do we distinguish capital and revenue expenditures. So, a million peso amount ordinarily will be established for capitalization and expenditures of lesser amount are an automatic classified as charges against current revenue. Number four, a policy requiring all PPE to be handled through the purchasing department and subjected to standard routines for receiving inspection and payment. I think that's the same. I think that's quite understandable naman. Number five is very important because sa PP natin, isa sa mga crucial na assertion natin is existence, di ba? Periodic physical inventories designed to verify the existence, location, and condition of property. Example lang, lately, di ba, there were several typhoons hit the Philippines, di ba? So, in that matter, the company should be able to have an established policy on verifying, di ba? O nandyan pa ba yung equipment natin? Is it functioning pa ba? Di ba? After it was devastated by the typhoon, 'di ba? By those typhoon. So, that's very important, no? That's very important for a company. Okay? And to disclose the existence of any unrecorded units. Baka may nakita kayo, hala, meron palang isang equipment dito na hindi natin na-record. So, those periodic physical inventories is very important talaga. And these periodic physical inventories, we could do this simultaneously with your plant tour. Okay? So, plant tour talaga yung isa sa mga importanteng procedures for PPE. Kung sa cash natin, meron tayong cash count and bank recon. Sa ating AR, meron tayong confirmation of receivable. Sa ating inventory, meron tayong physical counting of inventory, observation of physical count. Sa investments natin, we do inspection, no? Inspection of stock certificate and bond indenture. Dito sa ating property, plant and equipment, meron tayong plant tour. The plant tour is technically the most important talaga no, na procedure na hindi dapat makalimutan when we have your audit of property, plant and equipment. And this plant tour and this audit of PPE, this plant tour, pwede siya isabay na sa ibang ano. We could simultaneously do this with other procedures naman. Hindi big sabihin na separate yung plant tour para sa PP, separate yung tour natin para ganito, separate yung tour for that. So we could do everything simultaneously. So please be noted with that because it would be very taxing. It would be very tiring for you, no, na pabalik-balik ka plant tour because audit ka ganito, mag-plant tour ka naman. At audit ito, mag-plant tour ka naman. So it would give you a very it would give hassle to the company. It would extend your audit work, 'di ba? So you could do it simultaneously with other audits as long as naka-plan through ka and you're able to do some physical inspection of those listed PPE, then you're good. Number 6, a system retirement procedures, including serial number retirement work order, stating reasons for retirement, and bearing appropriate approvals. Dapat, when we retire, a certain PPE should be really subject for retirement, diba? And there must be a appropriate approval also for a retirement of your property. So these are the working papers for PPE that we could use in our audit of PPE. We have the summary analysis of PPE. Kung natin yung yung kanyang GL, we're going to look at kung meron bang additions and disposals during the year. Summary of analysis for AccuDep, which is similar also with ito. So kung merong summary ng PPE, meron yung summary ng AccuDep. Analysis of years additions and retirements. We also need to analyze repairs and maintenance expense, diba? Because repairs and maintenance is directly related to your PPE, diba? Aside from it, we could also take note if merong mga amounts na dapat i-expense pero na-capitalize at meron ba mga amounts na na-capitalize pero dapat i-expense. Okay? And test of depreciation. Okay, so let's go to our supplementary material because I want to emphasize something there that is very important. Okay, ito is overall approach natin. Okay. So the reasonableness of entire amount balance should be audited in detail for a client that has not previously been audited. So meaning po, if it is your first time audit a client this year, so you should really examine the entire amount of PPE. Now, if you're the auditor last year, ikaw auditor this year, you are auditing a continuing audit client. So, ang gagawin mo na lang is you're going to look at your examination last year and then you're going to analyze this year's acquisition and disposal. Hindi mo na uulitin yung ginawa mo last year because you already have a copy of analysis from the last year. So it would just really double your work. No, kung pa jud ka no, kung uulitin mo pa lahat ng ginawa mo on the first year. Okay, so pag first year student, first year audit ka, so you have no choice but to really analyze the whole balance ng ating PPE. But again, if you're a continuing audit client, so okay na po no that you're going to look at your last year. Then after you look at the last year, then you may examine only this year's acquisition and disposals. Now, this is very important. Number 3, relationship with repairs and maintenance. How do we know? 'Di ba? Sabi ko kanina, 'di ba? We need to also acquire analysis of repairs and maintenance. So how do we know if merong understatement or merong overstatement sa PPE by looking at the repairs and maintenance expense? Okay. A number of CPA questions address this area. No, this PPE acquisition may improperly be recorded in repairs and maintenance expense account. So baka merong mga amount na dapat i-capitalize pero ma-expense. Okay? This is very asa pagkabulo na mo ana, sir. 'Di ba remember? 'Di ba remember? 'Di ba remember this provision na sinabi ko kanina? Dapat may statement, may company policy with regards to capital and revenue expenditures. Merong threshold kung baka ba. Merong minimum amount to be capitalized. Now, what if na what if they have their minimum again, their minimum amount to be capitalized is 20,000, but they have expenditure worth of 25,000, pero in expense na it was charged to repairs and maintenance. So in that case, no, by analyzing your repairs and maintenance, it will detect understatement. Okay? Baka merong mga in-expense ng mga account na dapat kinapitalized. But on the other hand, sa reverse naman, baka merong mga na-capitalize pero dapat in-expense, no? There might be some amount that should be that should be expensed but were capitalized. So for you to be able to locate this, an analysis of PPE may disclose repairs and maintenance that have been improperly capitalized, resulting to overstatement of PPE. Okay, so please take note, test of understatement sa PPE, you need to look at the repairs and maintenance. Test of overstatement sa PPE, you need to look at the analysis of PPE account. Okay, unrecorded retirements. So it's very what one of the issues of PPE is we might not trace directly which of this property has been retired or not. Imagine, although few ang transactions ng PPE, but maraming PPE, di ba, in a company, the computers, the buildings, meron pang kanilang mga meron pa lang mga sofas, di ba? Those are PPE, di ba? Those are property plant equipment, the furnitures and fixtures. So marami din, di ba? Very considerable amount ng PPE na nandyan sa company. So, it's very hard for us to really trace directly the disposals of them, the retirements. Kaya meron tayong nare-record, no? We might be able to skip, no, recording the retirement. So disposals may occur due to retirements or thefts of PPE items. Simple retirements of equipment are often difficult to detect since no journal entry may have been recorded to reflect the event. So these unrecorded or improperly recorded retirements may be discovered by the following na mga na mga procedures: examining changes in insurance policies. Baka yung insurance policy mo konti na yung coverage. I mean, there were adjustments with the coverage. For example, yung insurance policy mo last year covers your 5 buildings. So this year after your renewal this year, it now only covers your 4 buildings. So meaning na bawasan ng isa. So what happened to that one building na hindi na na-cover ng insurance? Nabenta na pala. Yun. Consideration of the purpose of recorded acquisition. Bakit ka nag-acquire? No, why did you acquire a certain asset? Pang-replace ng nasira na PPA. So you might be able to have an idea of an unrecorded retirements. Examination of property tax files. We pay real property taxes. Now, for example, this year, bumaba yung payment natin ng real property tax. Bakit? Nabenta na pala yung lupa natin. Di ba? So there will be retirements. Discussion, observation, and examination of debits to accumulated depreciation and credits to miscellaneous revenue account. Okay? And inquiry also with the plant manager may disclose unrecorded retirements or obsolete equipment. Okay, so that's it for our discussion, no? This is very important. This one's very important. Super. Very important. The relationship of repairs and maintenance, not with your pay. So please remember that. Okay, so that will be all for this video for our theories, basic theories for audit of property, plant, and equipment. For the next video, we will be discussing already the accounting and auditing of the substantive testing, not for your property, plant, and equipment. Thank you.